Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari 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 Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana 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 Jamuna Tire Banechari Tire Banechari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet Shavratam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto he bhadrani Vidunoti suhasatam Nashtaprayasha bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. So today we are covering Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 15, verse 34. It's a beautiful verse. Hare Krishna. Janmashati tapo mantre yavati riha siddhayah yogenapnoti taha sarva Nanya yoga gatim rajet Janmashadhi tapo mantre Yavati riha siddhayah Yogenapnoti taha sarva Nanya yoga gatim rajet Janmashadhi tapo mantre Yavati riha siddhayah Yogenapnoti taha sarva Nanya yoga gatim rajet. Janmashadhi tapo mantre Yavati riha siddhayah Yogenapnoti taha sarva Nanya yoga gatim vrajet. Janmashadhi tapo mantre Yavati riha siddhayah Yogenapnoti taha sarva nanyere yoga gatim vrajet. Janma, by birth. Aushadhi, herbs. Tapaha, austerities. Mantrehe, and by mantras. Yavatih, as many as there are. Iha, in this world. Siddhayaha, perfections. Yogena, by devotional service to me. Apnoti, one obtains. Taha, those. Sarvaha, all of them. Na, not. Anyehe, by other methods. Yoga gatim, the actual perfection of yoga. Vrajet, one can achieve. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Whatever mystic perfections can be achieved by good birth, herbs, austerities and mantras, can all be achieved by devotional service to me. Indeed, one cannot achieve the actual perfection of yoga by any other means. Purport. By taking birth as a demigod, one is automatically endowed with many mystic perfections. Simply by birth on Siddhalok, one automatically acquires all of the 8 principal perfections of yoga. Similarly, by birth as a fish, one becomes invulnerable to water. By birth as a bird, one gets the mystic perfection of flying. And by birth as a ghost, one gets the mystic perfection of disappearing and entering into the bodies of others. Patanjali Muni states that the mystic perfections of yoga can be achieved by birth, herbs, austerities, and mantras. The Lord states, however, that such perfections are ultimately a waste of time and an impediment to achieving the actual perfection of yoga, Krishna consciousness. Those who give up the process of bhakti yoga and shop around for other objects of meditation besides Krishna are certainly not very intelligent. Those who claim to be yogis but pursue the satisfaction of their own senses are certainly kuyogis or bhogi yogis. Such kuyogis cannot understand that just as they have tiny senses, the absolute truth has absolute senses. Nor can they understand that yoga is actually meant to satisfy the absolute senses of the Lord. Therefore, persons who give up the lotus feet of Lord Krishna in order to pursue so-called happiness in mystic perfection will undoubtedly be frustrated in their attempt. By meditating exclusively on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can achieve Yoga Gati, the ultimate goal of yoga, which means living on Lord Krishna's planet and there enjoying spiritual opulences. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatadham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So this is a beautiful verse when the purport is described how through 4 different medias one can attain any of the 18 perfections based on their defined processes. First one is Janma, by birth. Just by taking birth in Siddhalok, one gets those mystic perfections. So just by birth. And then Aushadhi. Aushadhi is medicine, right? As per Ayurveda. So right, yes. Yeah, herbs. So they can also, so just by chemical combinations, you can experience. And of course, when Prabhupada was here in 1970s, there was similarly, what were those drugs called? People were imagining they were flying, right? Yes. So, just by taking those drugs, even the mundane drugs would, give them the feeling that they are what they are not. And they're experiencing what is not really happening. The outside it's miserable, but inside they are in bliss, they're feeling. And when Krishna consciousness was introduced, it was introduced with a similar fashion, like, it is like an unlimited dose of such drugs. So why take those drugs where you can be blissful outside and inside? Yes, stay high forever. So that's Ashadi, And then, tapo, we know, Hiranyakashipu, he did some tapa. He did such an austere tapa, means he was, again we'll touch into that topic as what austere is, but he was, standing on one feet with his hands and looking up onto the sky. He was, worshipping in that manner, and he was actually praying for his own sense gratification. He wanted to become immortal. Now, if you look at 18 perfections, immortality is not one of them. So Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava that these 18, mystic perfections are available, and one can go through these process. So even though Hiranyakashipu, he tried, it was, not useful for him. It was futile attempt. And then mantra, just by chanting of the mantras, one could, get these mystic perfections. And those mantras have some duration within which you can attain, and then you lose it again. So at the end, again, you are frustrated. So from those perspective, and of course, Giri Govardhan Prabhu covered the 8 mystic perfections last Wednesday, where, anima, which is becoming smaller than the smallest. Now, Lord Krishna says, before I go to those individual ones, that these are complete waste of time, and they are actually impediment of achieving the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the summary, it is described that they are waste of time with respect to if you cannot use them in devotional service. So let's look at some of them as how some of the devotees use these in devotional service. So anima is becoming smaller than the smallest. When Hanuman had to enter Lanka, he could not enter in that giant form he had used to cross the whole, Indian Ocean to get to Sri Lanka. So he became smaller than the smallest. So he had that mystic perfection, and he used it in Lord's service. So there is use, provided it is used in Lord's service. And so he entered into Lanka by becoming the smaller than the smallest. And even then, he was stopped by the gatekeeper, who was a demoness and whom he punched. And she said, "Oh, Lord Brahma told me that one day a monkey will come and punch me and I have to go back, to my residence." So she left after that. And another one is Mahima, which is greater than the greatest. So this is with respect to size. And this is what one of the perfections that Hanuman had used to cross over the Indian Ocean to get to Sri Lanka. So from Kanyakumari, he jumped, and because of that giant size he had, he was able to cross over. And similarly, he came back with the same form. Prapti is one acquires whatever one desires. And this is with respect to the mundane world. And since a devotee always desires the lotus feet of Krishna, which is at the absolute platform, this is useless. So it is very interesting. Then, Parakramya Siddhi is one experiences any enjoyable object. But then since a devotee is seeking to give pleasure to the Lord and not seeking sense gratification, that is not, useful. So we are coming across so many of these mystic perfections which are actually impediments, just waste of time. And how they waste of time, it's very interesting. Vasita Siddhi is one is impeded by the 3 modes of nature, unimpeded by the 3 modes of material nature. So the 3 modes of material nature, they can manipulate. Now we all seen how in the material world itself, they try to imagine somehow to be able to overcome these 3 modes of material nature. Like Matrix, right? The movie, he is manipulating the 3 modes of all the nature around him to be able to achieve what he wants. That concept is there. That desire is there, sometimes. But then if you can't use it, in the service of the Lord, it's just an impediment. Now, how are these siddhis like Vasita and then finally Kama Vayita Siddhi that can obtain anything from anywhere? How are they impediment or waste of time? Is very interestingly narrated in a story where there was this young boy. He wanted to get one of these mystic perfections. He said, I should be able to manipulate the three modes of material nature. So he goes over to the north in the Himalayas, accepts one of the yogis, mystic yogi, as his guru, and then for many years, for decades, he goes through severe austerities to attain one of the perfections. And finally he's able to get a perfection, and then he comes back to his village to show everyone what he has achieved. So now he's a middle-aged man. He said, remember, I left when I was a boy, and I have come back to show you something. Tomorrow everybody gather at the river bank. Okay, bank of the river. So everybody gathers at the bank of the river. The whole village is watching him. And he says, now just watch. And he walks over the water. And then he comes back. And then an old person, an old man asks him, how long does it take for you to do this? He's like, oh, it took me decades to perfect this art of walking on water. And the old man said, what a waste of time. I could give 2 rupees to a boatman. He will make me go across the river anytime. So it's not very useful, because you can use the boat to go across the river as well. And in today's world means, you can use the facilities to be able to acquire. And similarly, if you look at it in an analogy, it is very much like the example of Krishna consciousness. Somebody can be a great swimmer. Now, how far can they swim? While a person who's not even a swimmer has a ticket to a boat that is traveling even across countries, right? Across the oceans. They can easily cross over the ocean just by taking that boat. Now, how much effort it is to take to the boat versus trying to learn to swim across an ocean? Huge. And what a waste of time that you are preparing yourself just to cross over the ocean. So in this particular example, Lord Krishna means he's identifying that by devotional service, one can attain all that they want to, even in the mystic perfections and so forth, and not waste their time. Because these mystic perfections and, these actually waste of time, and they are impediments in the path of bhakti, devotional service. Queen Kunti in her prayers also identified this very topic. She says that one who has high parentage, who is well established with beauty, richness and so forth, they cannot approach your feet, your lotus feet, with pure feeling, with devotion, because they are seeking their progress in this mundane world. So they are, they cannot approach you, O Lord. So it's amazing as how these mystic perfections are actually anarthas. And anartha means, again, there is a word anartha, which of course is also, something that's unwanted. Artha means something that has a meaning. Ana means not. So something that does not have a meaning is called anartha. And it is very interesting, especially when you go from one country to another, you experience that anartha. Like when we came from India, we didn't have dollars, we had rupees. And when we came over here, all of a sudden we realized, wait a minute, we came with the wrong currency, it's an anartha, nobody would accept rupees. One of our friends last year, he went over to Germany and he had US dollars. And he was thinking, US dollars would easily convert to euro and he can use it in Germany. And all of a sudden, there was no bank close by. And that became anartha for him. It didn't have any value in that state. So when you take this mystic perfections and you go back home, back to Godhead, they don't have any value. So you don't even get an entrance. Actually, you are stopped at the very gate, at the very attempt of trying to enter. So these mystic perfections, they're useful within the material world. But they're not useful beyond it. It is very interesting to see that, people spend so much of their time and energy in trying to get these mystic perfections. And even in today's world, in material world, people are trying to acquire more and more knowledge, more and more expertise in a specific area. But then, if they get glories and they get bound by those glories around them and they become proud, pride comes before fall, right? They actually get more entangled in this material world. And they are not able to focus on devotional service. While devotional service is so blissful that it actually removes such anarthas from our life. Atho Shraddha Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Anartha Nivriti. So this is the process defined, by the acharyas. That first it starts with faith. And when you have faith, you hear to the saintly persons. Saintly persons who are in the disciplic successions. And why is that important? Because it is, you want to get the message as Krishna spoke, and it is coming through the disciplic succession. And so when you hear that message, you understand it, you follow it. And then Sadhu Sangha, then followed by that is Bhajana Kriya. You engage in the devotional service, worship of the Lord. And by doing Bhajana Kriya, Bhaja is little different than worship. Bhaja is immersing yourself. It's actually the whole devotional service. All the processes is involved. Well, puja is just devotional service. So in Bhajana Kriya, anartha nivriti happens. All these anarthas, they automatically go away. Means you do not have the desire for those mystic perfections anymore. So that is the blessing you get in devotional service. And Lord Krishna says that for a devotee, all these mystic perfections are easily attainable. But then, a devotee has no use for them if they cannot use it in Lord's service. So, coming to the point of, serving the Lord, and how this devotional service means, again, somebody asked me, why do we have to take to devotional service to Lord Krishna? There are so many important personalities we know of. Why can't we just take, Then we have to understand that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva Karan Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. And then taking to His devotional service on an absolute platform. Monday during the morning program, we heard Srila Prabhupada in his lecture. That how in this material world we have master and servant relationship. Right? In the material world, and that relationship is maintained as is. But on the absolute platform, even though Lord Krishna is the Supreme Master, because of the loving exchanges, instead of the trading exchanges in material world, and the absolute platform, it is filled with the bliss of loving exchanges. And those loving exchanges sometimes make even those positions merge. But Lord Krishna still remains the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though He may take an inferior position. And that is nicely described, in the very past times. And today happens to be what day? Gopashtami. So there is a very sweet pastime about Gopashtami I would like to cover. So, when Lord Krishna and Balaram, they had crossed over the Kumar age and reached the Pandraka age. So at that particular time, as they were growing, they were given the responsibility that no more calves. That was their first day, Gopashtami. The Ashtami was the first day that they were asked to take the cows for herding instead of the calves. Till now, they had been taking out calves for herding. Shishi Gauranitai ki jai. Shishi Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Shishi Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nand Koti Vaishnavind ki jai. Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So, here Krishna now taking the cows, and there is a big celebration that happens before as the boys will take the cows out. And since it's a men's event, Lord Krishna is feeling that separation from Radharani. When he was taking the calves out previously, he could get a glimpse of Radharani. But now he's feeling that intense separation. And he is in that separation, he is not the regular jubilant self as he always is. Right? So as he's feeling this separation, his friend Subala Sakha. Sakha means friend, you know. Subala Sakha, he sees Krishna and he says, "What's wrong, Krishna? Why are you so sad?" And Krishna says, "Subala, I'm feeling the separation from Radharani. I want to see her. Do whatever you have to do. Just get her here." And Subala says, "In broad daylight? You want me to get Radharani in broad daylight?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm feeling such an intense separation. You go and get her." So Subala Sakha, realizing how Krishna is feeling, that intense feeling of separation, thinking of Radharani, he goes to Radharani's home, and on the way he meets the gopis. And he tells them that Krishna is feeling that intense separation and he wants to see Radharani. And they all say, "Oh, how is it possible? Broad daylight. How is it possible that we can get Radharani to Krishna?" So Subala devises a plan. He takes his calves, and one of the calves, he lets the calf enter into the Radharani's home. And he says, "Oh, my calf is," he runs after the calf. And at Radharani's home, her mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they are Jutila and Katila, right? Kutila. So the mother-in-law, she suddenly says Subala. And now Subala Sakha is intimately associated and very close to the family of Radharani's in-laws. Her husband Abhimanyu is his friend as well. And just to clarify, Abhimanyu is shadow of Lord Krishna. But again, for this pastime, he is a separate person. So she says, "Oh, Subala, where are you going?" He says, "One of my calves wandered into your stable." So he runs to the stable. And there the cows are there. And luckily, Radharani is also tending to the cows. So he sees Radharani. And he immediately tells Radharani how Krishna is feeling separation and waiting for her at the edge of the forest. And Radharani, hearing how Krishna is feeling separation, what does she feel? She starts feeling the same separation, the reciprocation of that sweet, feeling of separation. She's like, "Oh, but how do I go there? My mother-in-law is at the gate and I cannot cross." Now Subala has the same complexion as Radharani. Tapte Kanchana Gaurangi, like the molten gold complexion, he has the same complexion. He's also very slim, very much like, girlish, very slim boy. So they devise a plan to exchange their clothes. So Radharani and Subala Sakha, they exchange their clothes. And Radharani, wearing the Gopa dress, picks up a calf that had wandered in, and he, gets out of the stable and starts running to the door. And the mother-in-law of Radharani, she says, "Oh, Subala, where are you going?" She's like, "Did you get your calf?" And then, but just with that, she runs out. Runs over to the place, and now it doesn't end here. It doesn't end here. She runs to the place where Krishna at the edge of the forest is waiting. Now from a distance, Krishna sees Radharani coming in Subala's Gopa form, right? Gopa dress. So he thinks that Subala has returned without Radharani. He said, "Oh no, Subala, you came alone. You did not bring Radharani." So Radharani realizes that Krishna even has not recognized her. Because of her resemblance and the color, same as Subala, she realizes. She said, "No, Krishna, today you have to, take help from Chandravali and her Sakhis." Now it is very interesting to know that even Radharani has a competition in Vrindavan. Forget our material competition. That's an absolute platform. With Chandravali and her Sakhis, Chandravali is also, loving Krishna just like Radharani loves Krishna and worships Krishna. But Radharani, the word Radha comes from Aradhita. Aradhita comes from Aradhana. Aradhana is worship. Aradhita means the one who is the topmost worshipper. So Radharani is the topmost worshipper. And of course, she is also the presiding deity for the month of Kartik. So in this month, we pray to Radharani for her mercy. So Radharani, when she says this, Krishna says, "No. The need of a milk can never be met by the curd." So, he is saying Radharani is milk and Chandrika is, curd. So it cannot be. And by feeling that intense separation, he faints. And Radharani immediately runs in the Gopa dress, picks him up. He says, "No, Krishna, couldn't you recognize me? It's me, Radha. I'm here." And then Krishna sees, and she is jubilant. So that sweet pastime is there. Where in separation, Krishna faints. And Radharani has to come and, make him realize that it is her, not Subala, who has come. So such are the sweet pastimes. So when we sing Damodar Ashtakam, Iti Drik Swarila Bhirananda Kunde, Lord Krishna is immersing the whole of Vrindavan in the pools of ecstasy by his pastimes. He is constantly doing one thing or the other. So such are the wonderful activities that are being performed at the absolute platform. And Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava. Now it's also very important. Marana Prabhu yesterday covered some of the qualifications of Uddhava. But it's also very important to actually understand who Uddhava is. In the third canto itself, it is described when Uddhava was just 2 years old. He was so much interested. As soon as he understood how to walk and talk, he was always seeking to serve Krishna. He was always immersed in the thought of Krishna. Now you can say, how could he be immersed in the thought of Krishna while Krishna was in Vrindavan at that time? Uddhava wasn't, very junior to him. It was that because he had that desire to serve Krishna from his previous birth. He's an expansion of Vasu, one of the Vasus. And so he had that desire. So he was constantly immersed in devotional service of remembrance, remembering the Lord. And ever since he got in touch with the Lord, he was constantly serving the Lord. And he was always wear the clothes that were discarded by Lord Krishna. So Uddhava, because of his intense worship and devotional service, he got similar features and complexion as Lord Krishna. Now the second thing that happened is, he would wear Lord Krishna's clothes. So when he would wear mukut, the crown that was discarded by Lord Krishna, it also had the peacock feathers. His spiritual master is Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods. So highly learned person. And Uddhava was always serving Lord Krishna. In Bharat Bhagavatamrita, it is nicely described. When Devashi Narad is seeking who is the best devotee of the Lord, he actually comes all the way to Uddhav through various other personalities. And then Uddhav points back to Vrindavan, says, no, his topmost devotees are in Vrindavan. And so Uddhav, when he goes to Vrindavan again, and he is excellent, he is an expert in presenting arguments and, presenting your case, just like a lawyer would present, in front of a judge. Uddhav could easily present Krishna's case. He was very confident that I would be enlightening the gopis, but he gets enlightened when he goes to Vrindavan. Amazing. Now, it is also said that the acharyas have said that Krishna doesn't take a step outside Vrindavan. Now, why is that? Is it that just Krishna doesn't want to take a step outside Vrindavan, or it is something that's stopping him from taking the step outside Vrindavan? That's also an important topic of interest. So it so happened, and this is a pastime of Lord Krishna, who is Vasudev Krishna in Dwarka. All his queens, he has 16,108 queens. And all the queens, especially the, Rukmini and Satyabhama, they are very disturbed because Krishna in his sleep would call out gopis' names, like Radharani, Vishakha, Lalita, and so forth. And they were like, why is that? And they would complain to their mother-in-law, Devaki and Rohini. They would complain that why is Krishna calling out these gopis' names? And it so happens that Krishna realizing, why this is happening, one day he gets up and he says, I have a headache. Now Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has a headache. It's amazing, right? And so immediately Rohini tries to please him, Satyabhama, and all the queens, they try to, but no solution. They call Vaidya. The doctors were called Vaidya at that time. And they come and they cannot figure out what the cause is. And then Krishna says, actually, I know what the cause is. And I know even the solution. They say, okay, what's the solution? Even if I get little dust from the feet of my devotee on my forehead, it will be cured. Now, Devashinara is also visiting, right? He sees this. When he hears Krishna has a headache, he has to be there. What's going on here? This is some amazing pastime. And as soon as everybody hears, they immediately take a step back. No way. If our, dust of our feet is placed on the forehead of the Lord, we would be suffering hellish life for many millions of lifetimes. No way, we cannot make such an offense. We cannot do such an offense. Then Krishna says to Devashi Narad, well, no one is agreeing here. Why don't you go to Vrindavan and ask? So as Devashi Narad is going to Vrindavan, at the bank of Yamuna, he sees some gopis. And they inquire, oh, Devashi Narad, what is your purpose? He says, oh, Krishna has a headache. And all those gopis start lamenting. Krishna has a headache. Oh no, Krishna has a headache. They start crying on the spot. And then Devashi Narad says, but there is a solution. They say, what's the solution? He says, if dust from the feet of one of his devotees can be placed on his head, his headache would go away. They start thumping the ground. They say, bring buckets and take all this. And then Devashi Narad is shocked. He's like, aren't you afraid for millions of, your lifetimes you'll be having hellish experiences. And they're like, no, we don't care about ourselves. We only care about Krishna, that his headache should go away. And at that point, Devashi Narad realizes the supreme glory of Vrindavan and its residents, as how they do not care about themselves, but only care about Lord Krishna. And that his headache is much more important to them than the millions of hellish lifetimes. So such are the beautiful pastimes, of the Lords and his devotees, and the sweet exchanges at the absolute platform they go on. So who would want to go for mystic perfections when they have such exchanges and such wonderful pastimes of the Lord, who loves his devotees with wholeheartedly and only expects one thing: devoid of awe and reverence, just love him with devotion. And so we seek that devotion, and for that reason we raise our hands and call out for devotion. How? By saying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Because just by chanting Mahamantra, we are actually praying to Radharani. We are actually not really Krishna's devotee, we are actually Radharani's devotees. Because we are following Gauranga Mahaprabhu, right? Who is Andar Krishna, Bahar Radha, who has the same complexion as Radharani in Gaura. And inside, it is Krishna with that mood of a devotee. But outside the covering is that of Radharani. Now that's another pastime, as how that happened. But really, we are following, Lord Gauranga, who is in the mood of Radharani. And so we are actually following Radharani. And the month of Kartik, she is the presiding deity. So we are actually praying to her that please engage us in Lord Krishna's service. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Yes. Oh, so what happens is, after Radharani goes to meet Krishna, and the gopis, they come to know that she has worn Gopa dress. They all dress up as Gopas and participate in this festival. Because there are millions of people, right? Who is going to pay attention to some thousands of boys, and among them only 108 are the prime Manjaris and the gopis who are participating. So they all get to participate. And Lord Krishna this time takes Radharani on the first day along with him. And Subala, can you imagine his Subala Sakha? He is waiting. He's like, before his identity can be caught. He's waiting, and his every breath is like, am I going to be caught or not? He's just trying to tend to the cows in the stable. He doesn't want to go inside, because if Abhimanyu is inside the house, he would be definitely caught, and Radharani would be in trouble. So he was the one Gopa who missed it. But then the ecstasy of that exchange was so much supreme. Can you imagine, even for him? As how he was just waiting for Radharani to come and give his dress back so he can go home. Hare Krishna. Any other questions, comments? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कौड़ी वैष्णववृंद की जय, गो प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि।
পিজারমা রূপনাব্য যৌবনাদি সম্পদান যৎসমা শীলহার্দলীলয়া চ সাজতোস্তি নাধিকা মহ্যমাত্মপাদপদ্ম দাস্যদাস্তুরাধিকা কুমকুমাক্ত কাঞ্চনাব্জ গর্বহারি গৌরভা পীতনাঞ্চিতাব্জ গন্ধ কীর্তিনিন্দি সৌরভা। রাসলাস্য গীত নর্ম সৎকলালি পণ্ডিতা প্রেম রম্য রূপ বেশ সদ্গুণালি মণ্ডিতা বিশ্বনব্য গোপযোষী দালিতোপি জাধিকা মধ্যমাত্মপাদপদ্ম দাস্যদাস্তুরাধিকা কুমকুমাক্ত কাঞ্চনাব্জ গর্ব